Hi folks, Gavin here from Player TV, and today I'm taking a look at one of the mid-range flagship cards, if that's even a thing, from ZOTAC. This is the ZOTAC GTX 1080 Ti AMP Edition, and it's got quite a lot going for it really. Starting off with obviously the main specifications of it, it's got a 1683 MHz boost clock on the core stock out of the box. It's got 11 gigahertz on the memory, and it is 11 gig of GDDR5X memory running over a 352-bit bus. So it is obviously in line with literally every other GTX 1080 Ti on the market from NVIDIA. Some obviously things to mention about it. It is a twin-fanned cooler on this particular model. It uses Ice Storm, which is ZOTAC's it's basically ZOTAC's naming for their VGA cooler. Unlike the Extreme Edition, it has 3 fans, but this particular model has 2 fans, so we'll see how that does in terms of cooling compared to some of the other competitors on the market. So, it features freeze stop technology, which is basically some buzzwords that signify that it has a passive cooling design. So, when your card is at full load, it will use the fans. If your card's idling and you just say web browsing, it will obviously not, so it reduces sound in your system, so overall ambient noise is low. Obviously when you're gaming though, it is going to kick in the fans, so obviously be aware of that. It's got a custom PCB, and it's got a 16+2 power phase design, so it's got quite a beefy power phase design, albeit ZOTAC are very well known for tripling up their VRMs on MOSFETs as well, so bear that in mind. Obviously, big numbers in terms of phases doesn't always equate to more potency and overclocking terms. So, in terms of power, it has 2 8-pin PCIe power connectors for your power supply, and although ZOTAC recommend a 700 watt power supply, no, sorry, they actually recommend a 600 watt power supply. Sorry, my bad. I completely forgot there. But it does obviously draw 270 watts of power. So depending on your other components, you may get away with a good quality 550 watt, maybe 500 watt if it's a very high efficiency unit and it's very good quality. Otherwise, it's pretty bang on the money. 600 watt power supply sounds pretty decent to me. In terms of length, it's about 11.8 inches long, so it's quite a long one. Sorry. And it does feature RGB, although the RGB on the card is limited to this area here with the ZOTAC logo. Everywhere else is non-RGB, no RGB lighting on the fans, none on the back plate, although the back plate is reasonably good, but it does have 2 big power boost, look like capacitors on the back, which is very thin for ZOTAC. ZOTAC do this on their latest range of graphics cards. I personally think it looks a little stupid, but that is just my personal opinion, and some people are definitely going to love that, especially it says power boost. It has all the usual suspects in terms of connectivity. It's got a DVI-D port. It's got 3 DisplayPort 1.4 connectors, and it obviously has a HDMI slot, which is HDMI 2.0B. So it's got the latest HDMI, as well as DisplayPort, so it's got everything you need, and it supports up to 4 monitors. And this card, in my opinion, is a solid card for likes of 4K gaming at 60 FPS, and obviously high frame rate gaming at 1080p. So those with 144Hz monitors is probably going to be looking at this card anyway. It's not as quick out of the box as the likes of the ZOTAC's own AMP Extreme Edition, but you know, it's what I would class as a mid-range 1080 Ti, which is quite weird when you think about it, because, you know, a 1080 Ti is not a mid-range card, but obviously there's different levels. So you've got the likes of the Founders Edition, then you've got your budget cooler, aftermarket cooler cards, and then you've got your premium cooler cards. This is probably in the middle of the budget and the premium, because obviously the Extreme has the premium Ice Storm cooler, and this one has the basic 2 fan. But it is it is a proper 2-slot card, so those who have 2 slots of space on their motherboard free, this card is going to fit in absolutely no problems at all. So I think it's time we take a look at the test setup, virtually how we test all graphics cards here at Player, and of course see how it performs, and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts and opinions on this beautiful, not too bad looking card. Beautiful, not too bad looking, sort of kind of contradictory, but it does look good. Some people are definitely not going to like it, but I think it looks great. So, the ZOTAC GTX 1080 Ti Amp Edition has been on the test bench and you've seen the performance for yourself. It supports very decent performance in benchmarks and it's highly comparable to the other brand's offerings. It looks good all round in my opinion, apart from the, the bare power caps on the back. I just generally don't like them. It doesn't tickle my fancy. But overall, it's good. In terms of pricing, it's around £30 cheaper than Asus model, and it's around £10 cheaper than MSI. So it still costs a large chunk of money. But in saying that, you're gonna get, obviously, you can see what you're getting. You're getting a good quality card. Although the main caveat for me, and the main, I would call it a con in a review sense, is the cooler. Especially compared to the other competitive coolers like the Asus Strix DCU3 cooler, Twin Frozer 6 from MSI, it is not as good. And I'm going to put myself on a limb here and say that the Asus, cooler absolutely smashes this particular twin fan cooler into the dust, and it's not really competitive. We're talking 10 plus, 13 plus degrees, which is, it's not acceptable in my opinion. Especially when you're going to be paying, £700+ for the card. And that's obviously completely subjective and up to yourself. Aside from the better cooling capabilities of other cards, this card really is good. But in my opinion, it only deserves a silver award. And it's not that a silver award is a boogie award, because in terms of PR, and marketing companies actually think silver award's bad because gold is the standard. But with a little refinement on the cooling, especially for the price, bearing in mind, if this card was, say, a GTX 1070 or a 1060 or even an RX 580 or whatever, it would be probably gold award winning. But because it's an expensive card and other brands offer better cooling options for around the same price, albeit slightly more expensive, but a card like this is a long-term investment in my opinion, and if you don't want to be stung for your money, I would probably either look for the Asus model if you want 100%, performance and you're going to be overclocking, because let's be honest, the card will be fine for overclocking, and I have done a little overclocking with it and it's not too bad. But the thing that reduces the overclock and the boost clock in terms of NVIDIA cards with, GPU boost, is that the cards will push it further when it's got a low temperature. So basically the equation is overclocking equals better boost performance, and it scales off cooling. So if your cooling's not adequate, it's not going to scale very well and you're not going to get as high overclocks. So that's pretty much it. But I do like the cards, and as I said, silver award is a good award and it really, 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 really deserves it. So yeah, I'd like to thank ZOTAC for sending the GTX 1080 Ti Amp Edition in for review. I've been Gavin from Player TV, and please leave a like, please subscribe to the channel, really appreciate it. Have you bought this card, or do you own the Amp Edition Extreme version? Let us know in the comments below. Would you buy this card? Would you swerve it? What do you think? Do you disagree with my opinion? Let me know again in the comments below. But yeah, thanks for watching folks, and ciao for now.